Yo, what's going on with y'all? It's your boy NeoXO coming back at y'all with another video. Today, I'm gonna be reviewing Black Clover chapter 310. I'm gonna let y'all know what I think about the chapter, break down some of the stuff in the chapter, and all those good things. Now, I'm close to 5,000 subscribers. I only need 20 more. So before we get into the video, make sure to subscribe and leave a like to help out. 20 more subscribers, I'm hitting 5,000 and surpassing my limits. Now, with that being said, let's hop right into the video. This chapter start off hot. All right, so we got Yuno and Zenon clashing off against each other, major clash, and we see Yuno pulling up behind Zenon, whipping out a new spell, pun intended, and this spell is basically like a star whip. Me personally, I really like this attack. This is something unique. We don't see anybody using whips like this, and this whip is not just a normal short whip. Firstly, what I want to touch on, this whip is made out of star energy. So Yuno has these stars that he places. We've seen him teleport through these stars. So this is like the beginning of Yuno mastering his star magic. Now, like I said in my spoilers video, some people don't like the fact that Yuno is using some of these new spells with his star magic. But the way I see it, there would be no point in him getting a new grimoire and not being able to use it. Why would they give him a new grimoire in the middle of a fight and him not being able to use it? Now, I'll kind of justify this a little bit more. So let's say you're playing a video game and you're going up against an opponent in a fighting game. Just because the opponent doesn't necessarily know how to play the fighting game, they can still button mash. So that's kind of like what Yuno is doing. He's using his new attacks, figuring them out. And after a person button matches, then they learn how to use the attacks in more appropriate ways. So that's kind of like what Yuno is doing. He has these attacks, but that doesn't necessarily mean he has them mastered, but he can use them. Now, going off back what I was saying about the whip, he uses this whip and he uses it against Zenon, and it pretty much slices Zenon. So this whip is powerful because Zenon does have some good defense with his bone magic. Now, this was a pretty direct hit on Zenon from Yuno's new star magic whip. So it can mean one of two things. Either this attack was not arcane or it did not hit his heart. It did not hit Xenon's heart. So it's one of those two things as the reason why this attack didn't finish off Zenon right here. So we see Zenon coming back with a counter attack, and he uses a sword, and this sword is a mixture of spatial and bone magic. So I like how they're combining those two magics together. A lot of people are theorizing that in the future. To me, I don't even think it's a theory. I think it's just something that's bound to happen. Yuno is going to combine his magic in the future like we see Zenon doing with his spatial and bone magic. So Zenon uses this new sword, and I'll take a moment to pause here to talk about the sword. The design of this sword is really cool. I really like it. I mean, it kind of sucks that we may never see this sword used again, because at the end of the chapter, Yuno hits Zenon with a very the attack that Yuno hits with Zenon at the end of the chapter could very well be fatal. So we may never see this sword used again. But Tabata went off in the design of this sword. I think Tabata really likes designing cool things, and I think he has a cool style when it comes to like designing forms and weapons and things like that. Zenon uses this sword to pretty much throw some slashes at Yuno, and Yuno decides to dodge these slashes. I mentioned this in a previous video, but some attacks you gotta know when to dodge and when to defend and when to counter attack. And Yuno seen these slashes and he was like, oh, no way am I tanking this, I gotta dodge. So Yuno uses his speed to dodge out of the way, because he definitely did not want to get hit by that attack. He just did not. That might have been the end. Now, Zenon actually attacking Yuno might have not even been the plan, because what ends up happening is Zenon attacks the stars and he breaks them. So that's interesting to see. That kind of nerfs the stars a little bit, because people were just saying like these stars are gonna be like galaxy level or some crazy stuff. It might be, I don't know. But the point I'm making is they are able to be defeated because he just broke them. So they're not just infinite. Now at the end of the chapter, towards the end of the chapter, we do see this like countered again, because Yuno kind of says something along the lines of, if you're strong enough, a new star will be born. But in this moment in time right here, the stars can be broken. These stars being broken, that means a couple of things. It basically means Yuno's nerfed a little bit while the stars are broken. So he can't teleport in between the stars when they're broken. And he can probably only use, and he can kind of only use some of his tricks whenever, they're not fully restored. So he can restore them, and we're gonna see him restore them actually at the end of the chapter. Now at this point, I do feel like Zenon is getting a little bit desperate, because I know like when a lot of characters get a little bit desperate, they have flashbacks. So Zenon does have a flashback to his family, and basically they have a fourth Zagrata sibling. I think that's pretty well known in the community now. There is a fourth, and the fourth seems to be the mastermind behind the Dark Triad. I mean, he's pulling all the strings. There's a theory that he's the reason that whenever Zenon went into that dungeon with his friend, he's the reason that that devil was there, because nobody was expecting the devil to be there. And we know that led Zenon down the path of eventually becoming the devil host. Now, Xenon's ideology is flawed. It kind of reminds me of Madara Uchiha from Naruto, if you guys have seen that other shonen series. It's kind of like the weak people are, you know, kind of scared to die. That's what Zenon thinks. And it is true. People are scared to die for the most part. So he's like, all right, it will be a better world if we can just have all of these people gone and create it from like scratch, and kind of have them in bodies that don't die, so they don't have to fear for death. Now, this can be seen through a moral lens of, okay, that's actually a good thing. But the problem with morals when it comes to this is you have to kill off the existing citizens, so you're doing what they fear the most. So this is kind of like where I see a flaw in Xenon's ideology. So going a little bit deeper into that, Xenon's plan, or the Dark Triad's plan as a whole, would pretty much take killing the citizens and having them be reborn into bodies that don't die. Now, this is kind of foreshadowed a little bit because they all have a form of body magic. Not literal body magic like Dante, but a form of magic that comes from within the body, such as bones that's found within the body, blood that's found within the body, and of course body magic that's found within the body, because it's literally body magic. Now, they could have possibly went through with this plan, but you know, a lot of people in the comments, I read my comments, a lot of people were saying the element that they were missing was soul magic. And there are some theories right there, and I'm doing my part to make it a little bit more known that soul magic might be a thing in the future, because I've seen people talking about it, and I've seen it in my comments, people talking about it. So just putting that out there. So moving forward, Yuno is coming up with a plan in his head. I really think Yuno's plan is pretty well thought out. You know, for somebody who's fighting for their life, literally, and the lives of others. So he ends up hitting Zenon with a attack from Spirit of Boreas, so some wind magic. I like how he's utilizing both sides of him. You know, wind magic and a star magic. That's the best way to utilize it. And uses some wind magic, Spirit of Boreas, and it kind of got tanked a little bit by Zenon, but that, to me personally, I feel like that was a setup attack for the next attack that Yuno was going to be doing, because Zenon in his head has a false sense of security. He's like, all right, I destroyed his stars, so there's no way he can teleport all around the map and just erase the devil's heart, basically. So that right there kind of leads me to believe maybe it is arcane if Xenon's scared to get hit in the heart with this star magic, but I digress. Next, the craziest thing happened. I have been expecting this all along. People have been telling me this man does not have Saint Stage, and I'm like, why would this man not have Saint Stage when he got a spirit? All right, so this man does have Saint Stage, and I think it's safe to assume Fugelian is going to have Saint Stage as well. These spirit users are gonna have Saint Stage. It just makes sense. It's like so far it's been introduced to us as the ultimate stage of a spirit user. So Yuno does have Saint Stage. It's revealed in this chapter, and the narration explains it to be kind of like whenever the spirit and the host are in complete sync, then, or at least close to complete sync, then they have this new power called Saint Stage. So that makes sense. You know, they just completely in sync with each other. Now, that's kind of why, why Noelle's Saint Stage was kind of faulty a little bit. She kind of fell out of it. It makes sense because Undine's technically not her spirit. It was for Laura Petrica, so it would be more easy probably for Laura Petrica and Undine to be in sync than Noelle and Undine. But you know, that's neither here or there. It has nothing to do with this chapter. Just wanted to say that. Now, and I know some people are gonna be like, how did Yuno get this without training? They explain that basically the fact that Yuno's fighting on the verge of death that makes him and Bell pretty much in sync. They need to be to stay alive at this point. Now we see Yuno going at Zenon with this Saint stage attack, and Zenon tries to counter attack, and that's when Xenon's like, whenever Zenon counter attacks, he's like, all right, I have one. But that's whenever Yuno realizes that if you're strong enough, a new star is born. A new star goes behind Zenon. He teleports to the star, hits him right through the heart with a Saint stage attack. So this should be the defeat of Zenon, and I think overall this was a very good fight. I do like how it was drawn out a little bit. Some people probably don't like that, but the fact that Zenon did get hit through the heart with a Saint stage attack, which has the power to defeat a devil, he should be done. So I think overall this was a good chapter. I think this is one of my favorite fights in Black Clover. I like how, like I said, it was drawn out, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the fight too. I enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys also enjoyed this video, and if you did, go ahead and leave it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. Like I said, 20 subscribers away from 5,000. I'm about to surpass my limits, and hopefully you guys have a good day, but I will catch you in the next video.